Hey y'all, it's Shenandoah, and I'm here to tell you the story of the time I fell in love with a Chinese warlock and a soccer ball, but not at the same time. So, when I was 7 years old, my mom moved us to New Hampshire because my dad was getting out of prison and she was afraid he was going to kidnap me. I think probably because he said, I'm going to kidnap her. So, we moved way to hell out on a mountain in the middle of nowhere in New Hampshire from South Carolina. And growing up really poor teaches you to be super resourceful. So I'm outside playing one day and I find this soccer ball and it's like completely white and it's faded. And in the little octagons were blue stars and then red and white chevrons. It was cool at one point. And then my love of things that are still good and that you can fix them up, like dogs and furniture and men. Stop with the men, but the furniture and the dogs are okay. They're still good. So I'm going to bring this home and make it love me. So I brought home this ratty old ball and I took it upstairs and I took my blue sparkly fingernail polish and I individually painted each one of the stars. And then I took red, white, and blue paint and repainted all the chevrons. And then I waited for it to dry and I waited and I waited and I was dying. I wanted to play with it so bad. I don't even think the paint was dry. And I was like, hell with it. I'm going outside to play with it. So I take it and I kick it, bam, and it goes down the driveway and I'm, running like wee. And then it hits the road and then it crosses the road and I'm like, I'm after it. I'm a kid and having a great time. And I chase the ball and it hits the curb and goes into the neighbor's yard and I'm still running. And it goes through the yard, off an embankment, off of a damn cliff into a river, like a rushing river. And me standing at the edge screaming like I had just lost a child. Why, God? Why? Over this ball. I poured my heart and soul into this ball and an entire bottle of sparkly blue fingernail polish. And I kicked it one time and it went off a cliff. I'm like, seriously? All right, we're going to fast forward 30-something years. I'm grown up-ish. I'm an adult, like physically, but... Anyway, I go to take guitar lessons. I drove 45 minutes to the city, show up at the guy's house, and he's not there. So I call him, and he goes, oh my God, I forgot you. I'm so sorry, but I also forgot. Today is Valentine's Day, and I am searching the city for gluten-free chocolate for my love. Singles Awareness Day. Thanks for reminding me. So now I'm sad, and now I don't have guitar lessons. And I was like, I know it'll cheer me up. Crystals. I will feel better. I'm going to go to some hippie shop and I'm going to get me some crystals and some incense and go home and burn it and make a spell and cry or some such. And so I grab the GPS. Again, I'm in the middle of the city and I type in the place I want to go. It doesn't exist. So I'm like, all right, Google. I do it again. It's not pulling up. It keeps trying to take me to a magic store 5 minutes away. I'm like, bitch, I don't want a magic store. I want incense and crystals, and I want to go home and cry. And this is not what I want. And it kept trying to take me to a magic store. So now I'm mad. And then I'm like, you know what? Oh, maybe the magic store has my soulmate. Isn't that fun when you come up with a scenario for the universe on how things are going to work? And the universe is like, no. Anyway, a girl can hope, right? So I go to the magic store. I'm like, maybe they have stupid incense. And I walk in, and it's weird. There's like some barrel of chemical on the floor. Literally, like a barrel right when you walk in the door of chemical. And then there's like cardboard boxes of random candles everywhere, just like stacked all the way up. And there's that air freshener from the 90s, like Money House Blessing spray. Super weird. I love everything about it. There's a huge display of homemade incense. And then there's like a display case full of crumpled brown paper bags that are disintegrating and some random crystals. And I'm like, oh, it's chaotic. This is my place. I love it. It's like Little Shop of Horrors. So I'm starting to look around and then this tiny hunched over Chinese man comes out from the back and he pulls his wire rimmed glasses down and he goes, what day is it? And I was like, Friday? And he was like, no, what day? And I was like, Friday, February 14th? And he was like, okay. And then back behind the counter. And I'm like, maybe I don't need the incense that bad because he's kind of scary. And he's like, well, come on over here. I'm going to show you a magic trick. And I'm like, okay. Do I have to? You're terrifying. And so I go and he shows me this magic trick, and then he hands it to me, and he was like, I want you to do it. And I did it, and I did it well. And he was like, great, take it home, practice it. And then I want you to come back and show me how good you are. He said, because you can go to the bar and you're going to piss off all the men and you'll get free drinks all night because they won't be able to figure it out. And I'm like, I like you. I like you, dude. So anyway, I ended up standing there for an hour talking to this man. He was absolutely fascinating and hilarious. I'm like, why is there like sulfur behind you? And he was like, oh, it's so you could summon demons or cast them out. And I was like, excuse me, is that spine like on a wire? And he was like, yeah, it's for hoodoo. I have hoodoo customers. Okay, I also love this man now. So every week I go to guitar lessons, I'll go visit this man in his crazy store. And we ended up being fast friends, and he started taking me to lunch once a week, and then twice a week, and then 3 times a week, and then we just became inseparable. I accidentally fell in love with a Chinese warlock. Madly in love with this man. He was kind and sweet and funny, and he was taking me to these restaurants that I didn't belong in. And he would tell me stories about his wife who had passed away, and he said she was white and I'm Chinese, and he said this was, years and years ago, and people would be really mean to us, and sometimes they wouldn't give us reservations or they wouldn't let us in, so we're going in. And so times have changed. Nobody looked twice. They just thought it was some loud girl and her Chinese bestie, which pretty much is what it was. And we would go to all these places, and then one night after one of our dinners, he reaches over and he hands me a gold coin, a $10 gold piece, and he said, I want you to have this, because he said every woman should have a way to get home no matter what, so you'll always have that, and I want you to look at this and remember your worth. Because he was like, you don't know your worth. And I'm like, damn. You ever had somebody that sees you for who you are, even though you're faking it till you make it, and then somebody just sees right through you? I'm like, damn, that hit. that hit hard. Anyway, I ended up falling madly in love with this man, and this man was madly in love with me, and we were inseparable. We were talking about logistics, and he said things like, you do understand in 10 years you're going to be changing my diaper. He's like, you're going to be the prime of your life, and you're going to be taking care of me, and I'm going to be dying. And I said, I don't care. I love you. I literally do not care. It does not matter to me. And his family hated my guts. Of course, I'm half his age. I'm young, younger. It's super stereotypical. I'm probably just after his money. And I'm like, look, I'll sign a prenup. I don't care, but I will absolutely take care of you. I have never loved anybody that hard in my life. And so as time went on, he started to get kind of mean. He would just yell at me randomly. He'd be like, clean this mess up. And then I'm working in the store for free. I'd reorganized everything, got everything all nice, was talking to customers, things like that. And I'm like, why are you being mean? Sometimes I would walk off and cry, because this was the person that I loved the most. I spent all this time with, and I would have to go outside and cry because he'd yell at me for crying. And he was progressively getting meaner, and my little soul couldn't take it. I mean, my husband I was married to for 11 years was cruel as hell, and I'm like, I don't have that. There's no space in me for that kind of love anymore. And one day I just snapped, and I took all the jewelry that he gave me and I piled it up on the counter, and I said, you can't keep pushing me away. I don't have it in me. And I walked off and I left, and I cried for months. I drove to South Carolina. I went to the beach. I ate seafood. I wrote sad songs. I cried. I wrote in my book. I was utterly crushed. And the other day I was thinking about that soccer ball that I loved, and how I had poured my heart and soul into this soccer ball, and then how I lost it. It just, went off a cliff. No fault of my own, other than me just being a kid. And I realized that's what he was doing. That he poured his heart and soul into me, but he had to let me go. He had to let me leave, because he knew that I was going to be giving up so much that I would end up having to take care of him. And sometimes when you love something that hard, you got to let it go. And it's that stupid adage that you see in country bars: you love something, set it free, and if it comes back, yeah, no. No, he let me go. And that man taught me my worth. He taught me that I was valuable. He taught me that I was good enough to walk into these fancy restaurants with him in his wacky khaki pant uniform and me in whatever the hell I was wearing that day. And that we belonged just like anybody else. That we were good enough, that I was good enough, that I was good enough to be loved. And in the end, I loved myself to the point where I had to walk away from it. And there isn't a day that doesn't go by that I don't think of him. But when I was thinking about that soccer ball, and I was thinking about how life is kind of like one of those patchwork quilts. You ever seen the backside of one where it's all tangles and it doesn't make any sense? But every once in a while, God will go whoop with your life and flip it over. And then all those triangles and all those patterns make complete sense. But on the backside, it's all tangles and nonsense. And that's kind of what you're looking at all the time, is all these tangles. But on the other side, it's just this really beautiful patchwork and how it all fits together. And so being madly in love with this completely inappropriate person, it wasn't wrong. It was a life lesson. And he loved me to the best of his ability. But just like that soccer ball, he wasn't mine. He belonged to his wife, who had passed 10 years before. His heart belonged to her, and I was never going to have it. And he knew that I was going to give up everything I had to take care of him, and I deserved better, and he let me loose. And I just think that we all need to see our value, and we need to see our worth, and we need to know when to walk. And that was an amazing blessing. It was 3 months. It was a short relationship, but it was one of the best ones I've ever had in my life. So if your GPS is rerouting you somewhere you don't want to go, instead of arguing, just flow with it and see what happens today. And, don't be afraid to pour your heart and soul into something, but don't be afraid to walk away when it no longer serves you. It was a hard lesson, and I don't regret it for a second. I hope you guys have a super day. And if you want to see more stories, please go to my website. It's shannondoa.com. But don't forget, it's misspelled, so it's Shannon, DOA. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.